what we did last week? I know it's a whole week ago, and our older memories don't always work so well. But does anybody remember what we did last week? Yeah, hard, isn't it? If it makes you feel any better, sometimes I do these things, and I have to question myself, what did we do last week? And I was the one who was preaching it. But I remember what we were doing last week. Introduction to heaven. It was basically, hey, who goes to heaven? Good people. Who goes to hell? Bad people. And, oh yeah, there are some rules to follow. Which ones? Well, get the 10 Commandments right and you'll be okay, was the basic gist there. Well, the next item up on the agenda for kids is not heaven, but intro to the world of spirits. So I thought it'd be fun to start off with a little game called Am I a Good Person or Am I a Bad Person game. And so, I was thinking about what have I done this week that was bad? What have I done this week that was good? And I could think of some things, right? Probably used a tone of voice that I shouldn't have, that made the other person feel stupid, right? A little bit of sarcasm and, whatnot there. That was not my finest moment of the week. Oh, but I was nice to someone. I can think of a time where I was actually, pleasant, cheerful, and helpful. Oh, all right. Ooh, that's maybe two things. Pleasant, helpful, cheerful, right? Okay. But there were some other things I did where I go, my heart was not kind towards that other motorist on the road. My heart was not kind at all when they took that corner slow. I could feel the impatience. Get out of my way. I didn't actually blow the horn, but I wanted to. So there's some ideas of good person, bad person. Does anybody have some ideas that they would be willing to share of, this is something I didn't do very well this week? Or you can even say something that's good so you don't embarrass yourself. But I can assure you, if you're willing to share that, guess what? Everybody else in here has done something bad this week and done something good. We're all in the same boat. We're all rowing to the same river. We've done some bad things, done some good things. I was thinking if the kids were here, we'd hear, one say, oh yeah, well, I punched my sibling, right? Or, I lied to my teacher or parent. Yeah, okay, sure, those things happen. Adults, though, we have different kind of struggles for the most part, right? So, any takers, or are you all chicken? Oh, you got one? You'd be brave?
I focus too much on my shortcomings.
Oh.
And I will look after my dog on the good side.
Okay, so on the bad side, a little self-absorption, perhaps? And on the good side, you did the right thing by your dog who was getting adjusted to a new continent. Right. Sure. Good. So some bad, some good. Anybody else want to be brave? Doesn't have to be like, you murdered somebody, it's just something light. But the idea here is, even if you don't have something popping to mind, you do have perhaps some sense of self that, hey, I wasn't perfect last week. Maybe if I opened the window a little longer last month, last year, yeah, you did some things that weren't so good and did some things that were decent. And where I'm going with this little game that we play, if I had a little chalkboard, we got little tick marks for good and bad or a scale, if I look at Lee, how's that scale going to balance? More good, more bad? Oh, I hope it's more good than bad, right? That's the idea. But there is still some stuff that, each one of us can say we'd have to work on. And that, my friends, is the whole point of the world of spirits. Is that when we get to the world of spirits, it's this place where the Lord says, yeah, you know what? I know you've been on this path. You've been trying to come up higher. And you got these things you got to work on. Lucky for you, there aren't the same traffic problems in the afterlife. You're going to want to honk your horn. So you're going to get off of some of your evils a little easier than others. But there are some that you still are kind of attached to. Right? There's some that we still just kind of cling to and we make part of our identity. And so in this world of spirits, you're going to have a chance to really grind this out and put it to rest, put it aside. That's what it's there for. Because when you go to heaven, we really want you to not be attached to your evils. To go to heaven, we want you to just be free and clear. You know, all that anxiety, all that worry, all that stuff that you've had since a kid that's driving you crazy. You just want to let that go. Whatever your parents did to you, let that go. Whatever your teachers did to you, let that go. And the world of spirits is a place to process those things for one last time, and off it goes. And you go into heaven with a nice, clear mind. You're the person that you've always wanted to be. Now, of course, there is another option, right? There is the other option. You decide, no, I'm clinging to this. I'm clinging to this. This stuff's mine. The Lord says, if that's your choice, you can do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do that. The world of spirits, it's that last stop. And we prepare ourselves. And I really appreciate the passages that whoever picked them for this week gave about the world of spirits. It talks about the entrance. So I'll grab my props at this point, because this is from Heaven and Hell 4:28 and 4:29. It says, just as the world of spirits is a state halfway between heaven and hell within us, it is a halfway place. The hells are underneath it and the heavens above it. All the hells are closed on the sides that face the world, accessible only through holes and crevices like those in rocks, and through broad gaps that are guarded to prevent anyone from coming out without permission, which happens in the cases of real need, as will be discussed later. Heaven, too, is bounded on all sides, and the only access to any heavenly community is by a narrow way whose entry is also guarded. These exits and entrances are what are called the doors and gates of hell and heaven in the Word. The world of spirits looks like a valley surrounded by mountains and cliffs, with dips and rises here and there. The doors and gates to heavenly communities are visible only to people who are being readied for heaven. No one else finds them. There is one entrance to each community from the world of spirits, with a single path beyond it, but as the path climbs, it divides into several. One of the wonderful things in the modern world is ChatGPT's ability to create images. And so I thought it would be fun to say, okay, let's put in that last little bit about the entrance to heaven and see what ChatGPT says that looks like. And so here we have it. It's got some things right. The world of spirits is a valley surrounded by mountains and cliffs. All right, we've got some mountains and cliffs there. Dips and valleys. The doors and gates to heavenly communities are visible only to people who are being readied for heaven. It doesn't quite catch the brief on that, does it? Looks like those doors and gates are pretty visible to everybody. Maybe we're all going to heaven. Maybe we're okay. Yeah, maybe we can choose our community. I'm good with that. I made it try again. This is more of similar but different. I really love this concept of the doors and the gates are only visible to those who are ready for them. I mean, you think about it. If I'm out and about and I'm going shopping or whatever, I can tell you that I probably will not notice any of the quilting stores. But if I'm with Carrie, I bet she'll see all of them. It's the same deal, right? But I bet you I'll see a lot more supercars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis than Carrie would, right? I'm being readied for a certain place. Hopefully with Lamborghinis and Ferraris, maybe. I don't know. Hopefully that's a good place. Hell is the same way. The doors and gates to hells are visible only to the people who are going to enter them. They open for them, and once they are opened, you can see dark, sooty caves slanting downward into the depths, where there are still more gates. Rank, foul stenches breathe out from them, stenches that good spirits flee because they are repelled by them, while evil spirits are drawn towards them because they find them delightful. In fact, just as we find delight in our own evil in this world, we find delight after death in the stench that corresponds to our evil. We might compare this with the delight of carrion birds and beasts like crows and wolves and pigs who fly or run towards rotting corpses as soon as they get wind of them. I heard one man scream aloud in utter torment at a breath of air from heaven, but was calm and happy when a breath from hell reached him. So, ChatGPT had the similar kind of problems with making gates that are a little too visible to everybody. But it tried, and I appreciate the effort. The price was right. So we have the same thing with hell, right? You know, good people don't notice where the drug dealers are, maybe where the strip clubs, whatever evil might delight you. You know, you don't notice these things. You go through and it's just not there because you're not being readied for that. Conversely, you know, it's nice when you don't see those things, right? It's nice when you don't see those things. You're like, okay, great, this is a great place, and somebody has to point out to you the bad stuff. Oh, look, oh, that's here. Oh, yeah, sorry. The world of spirits is going to be a place where we get rid of all of those things that we don't really like about ourselves. And that's one of the things we'll explore over the time that I'm here, is that we often don't own up to the fact that we actually love our evils. That's why they're there. That's why we get some pleasure out of it. So it's hard to get rid of these things, because for whatever reason or another, we have this attachment to it. That's a story for another day, a sermon for another day. But for now, just kind of bear in mind, you know, world of spirits, introduction, you're going to get there, work on stuff, and when you're ready, you'll see the gate to the place where you'll be going next. Amen.